will help address some of these challenges that I've outlined by setting a new target from 431,000 this year to 465,000 next year, 485,000 in 2024, and 500,000 in the year 2025.
So I got this email from Keen Bex from the Counter Signal, and it's about a document that implicates Trudeau in the housing crisis and blames his immigration policy for the unaffordability of houses today in 2023.
Canada is an open and welcoming society because Canadians have confidence in our immigration system and have confidence that we are a country based on laws.
I love his web page and everything. If you go on there, you can sign up, you can get all these updates and everything from Keen. It's a really good site, and he does encourage people to share what's going on and what he's reporting. He was the first person to report about Freeland speeding in Alberta. So yeah, he's pretty much on the ball, and he has a profile on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it now. Anyway, let's get on with this that he's shown and sent. In a classified memorandum dated June 24, 2022, and addressed directly to Justin Trudeau, Canada's top bureaucrat placed the blame for the Canadian housing crisis squarely at the feet of the Prime Minister's immigration policy. Now remember, the housing minister now used to be the immigration minister then, so...
I just think that it should be held off until we're through this. Why are we spending money when we should be spending on others coming in when we should be spending money on our own?
The purpose of this note is to provide with an analytic summary of the report's findings. Documents show supply shortage is the key factor. I did a mem just the other day. We are minus 8% on the building of houses. Minus 8%. Somebody's not building houses where they should be. The memo informed Trudeau that Canada's housing supply shortage is the key factor behind the affordability crisis, and the country's home building pace is woefully short of filling the gap by 2030. There is broad agreement among experts that home building has been insufficient in the comparison with housing demand in recent years, particularly with the increase in immigration since 2015, referring to the year that Trudeau took office.
The wait time now to bring parents and grandparents to Canada is almost 4 years on average. A Liberal government will immediately double the number of applications allowing for parents and grandparents to 10,000 every year.
So this is where it gets to where it's Trudeau's fault. Trudeau disregards the warnings. 5 months after digesting this report, Trudeau released his 2023-2025 immigration targets, which not only disregarded the dire warning given to him, but instead accelerated the rate of immigration. The Trudeau Liberals are on track to pack 465,000 new permanent residents in 2023, 485,000 in 2024, and 500,000 in 2025. The memo further stated that Trudeau's home building efforts were dramatically underserving Canada's needs. While national home building did ramp up slightly in 2021, building 223,000 new units, the actual annual pace needed is 665,000 per year, which would be significantly more ambitious than what the Trudeau government is banking on in budget 2022. The secret document illustrates the Trudeau government's unwillingness to listen to reason and act in the best interests of the country. This is what we were saying before. Is it the end game for him? It's his ego. His ego is just so huge that it's just greying his view of everything. Keane then goes on to talk about how the housing supply is worsening. CHMC projects that a housing stock will grow by approximately 2.3 million between 2021 and 2030, And when it incorporates economic factors alongside demographic factors, it projects that an additional 3.5 million additional housing units are needed beyond the current projections to restore affordability. That's what we're looking at, even though nobody says what is affordability, how much is an affordable house, is it 80% less than so many millions? No, nobody knows. Nobody will actually come out and talk about how much is affordable housing. It's just affordable housing. I'd love them to give us an actual number on affordable houses. With the current government's strategic plan, that number will not be met. In 2022, Canada took in more newcomers than ever before, with 431,645 new permanent residents. The year prior, Canada also set a record with 401,000 newcomers. So with Trudeau saying that housing isn't his issue, under Trudeau, housing availability has consistently deteriorated.
Housing isn't a primary federal responsibility. It's not something that we have direct carriage of, but it is something that we can and must help with. That's something we disagreed with our previous Conservative colleagues when Stephen Harper's government, with Pierre Poilievre being a big part of it, pulled themselves entirely out of the housing business for 10 years. And there was a lot of missed opportunities through that. So from the time we got elected in 2015, we were committed to building a national housing strategy, which we announced in 2017, and in continuing to be there to layer in and show up. But you're right, it's not just the federal government that can solve this.
Since Trudeau assumed office in 2015, Canada's housing crisis have consistently deteriorated. Currently, the average home price stands at 8.9 times the median household income. So, yeah, that's nearly 9 times more than your income for the house, exacerbating the existing housing supply shortage. Houses are just too expensive. No one can afford to buy the houses. It's like, well, what they were saying is it's going to take 25 years just to save up for the deposit for the house. That's crazy. On July 31st, that's this year, Trudeau said he would try to help the housing situation, but added, "I'll be blunt as well. Housing isn't a primary federal responsibility. It's not something that we have direct carriage of." Whatever. So I'm going to leave a link to this in the description. You can sign up to the counter signal if you want and read some of these things. But this is the document that Keane has found, and it's got all the broad agreement among experts, the housing completions. Doesn't seem to be anything redacted from this counter signal. And like he said on this, he says share this story. So let's share it. Till next time, guys.